science will a loyal evolutionist believe regarding the evidence put forward by creationists? The answer is nothing. Not one thing. It doesn't matter what evidence the creationist provides, no matter how potent and empirical that evidence may be, because they have already got this preconceived idea that there is no designer and that evolution is scientific fact, when it is not. It is a theory and nothing but a religion. If you learnt 2 plus 2 equals 5 at school, then you went to college and learnt 2 plus 2 equals 5, and then you went to university and learnt 2 plus 2 equals 5 by people that have also grown up and learnt 2 plus 2 equals 5, they're going to believe that 2 plus 2 is 5, and no matter what anyone tells them, they will not be able to convince them otherwise. The heart rules the mind. How many times have you witnessed me in a discussion on this channel with an evolutionist and provided them with all manner of extremely powerful evidence that creation is true and that life was intelligently designed, then they scoff and change the subject? You see, they don't want the information. It doesn't matter how much evidence you provide, they still won't acknowledge. It's called being ignorant. To put your hands over your ears and to put your hands over your eyes and to just ignore it and hope everything will go away, pretty much, when that's not the case. And it's just pretty funny, really. You see, I myself and millions of other creationists around the world have provided so much evidence that evolution is false to some of these people, and they still just it's quite funny, really. It's quite silly. For example, I'll say such and such is true, for example, the earth being around 6,000 years old, and I'll provide links with scientific data and videos, for example, but they either won't evaluate the evidence and investigate my claim, or even watch or read the evidence I provide. Or they will bark at the top of their voice, such and such is true because, and then I'll provide evidence and I'll post links to evidence that says, no, I'm sorry, but that's false. What you're claiming there is false, and the scientific data proves that what you're claiming is false. Now, if they actually went and read that scientific source, then they would see for themselves that what they believed was either not true or extremely questionable. But they scoff at it, and they say, oh well, you're wrong because they come up with so many other excuses, and then they'll either dodge that question and then just go on rambling and talking about something completely irrelevant to what we was discussing. You see, it's not about the amount of scientific evidence you can provide for them. It's about their heart. They want to be free of God's moral law. They don't like His authority. The idea of them getting on their knees and asking God for forgiveness is abhorrent to some of these people. The heart rules the mind. You see, you can learn things in your mind, but if your heart is dedicated to it being not so, it doesn't matter what you learn, you're not going to accept it. This is very sad, but it's the truth with all these atheists and evolutionists and Darwinists. I studied evolution intensively, virtually every night, sitting at my computer studying scientific sources, reading about what scientists had to say about this, that and the other. I studied biological evidence, abiogenesis, the fossil record, adaptation, natural selection, genetics, paleontology, anthropology, the age of the earth, many things, a lot of different things. And I'm a hard skeptic. It's hard to convince me to believe in something I don't believe is true. I have to see hard, black and white evidence, and there better be plenty of it. There better be truckloads of it, otherwise I'm not going to believe in that. That's just my character. I want to see evidence. It took me a very short amount of time to come to the conclusion that evolution is not true. Everything they say is scientifically false. There is zero evidence for it. And there is a mountain of evidence for creation. I just couldn't believe it anymore. My worldview changed, basically. But that evangelical evolutionist is not going to do that. He's going to be like, well, I'm a naturalist, I'm a humanist. He does not want to be subject to any god or any god's law. Therefore, creationism cannot be true. Period. I don't care how much evidence you stack up in front of me, I'm still going to believe it's not true. And say, that's not there. I don't even see it. It don't exist. Or they'll be like, oh, it's flawed in this way or some way. Oh, evolution is still true. Evolution is true. Whew. Evolution is true. It's just, you can you see how creationists at least are willing to sit down at the table and compare evidences? But many evolutionists aren't even willing to get that far and consider and say, okay, that there might be a creator. They just seem to not even investigate and not even look at the evidence, when most of the creationists out there used to be evolutionists that have studied it and they cannot find any evidence. And it's preached in school as if a scientific fact, when it is not. There are so many gaps in the theory. It's just shocking. Absolutely shocking.